and welcome to this brand new series, M&A T.V. Now in this series we like to think of it as a little bit of a paranormal lifestyle show, and we're bringing you different features each week with a paranormal theme. Now we've been thinking about this series for quite a while now and getting all the plans together of what we'd include. But obviously with the current circumstances we've been unable to get out and about and investigate. But we didn't let that stop us. We've done the best we can. So this first episode might not be the best due to some connection issues. But hopefully you'll enjoy it anyway. And there's lots more to come in the future with this being a weekly series from now on. So without further ado, let's have a look at what we've got coming up later in the show. Later in the show you can join Jody on one of his walks with Bliss the dog as he tells you about a brand new competition we've got. Don't miss that, it's really cool and fun and it's aimed at the little ones, so everyone's got kids off school at the moment, grandkids off, bored, nothing to do, so check out the competition and I'm sure they'll love it. Join me as I chat to Telford about his YouTube channel and the night when he joined us investigating Dawson Source and Shifnal. That's not one to miss. And later we'll also be reviewing the Oracle coin that we purchased a few weeks ago. But first, join Chris as he chats to John Jeffries of Esm Paranormal about his very first paranormal encounter.
Welcome to Real Paranormal Encounters. On this show, we'll be talking to people from around the country or around the world who are going to meet up with us or talk to us over the internet about their paranormal experiences. Now today I welcome my very first guest, John, who's here to share his very first paranormal experience.
Yeah, hello Chris. Yeah, I'm John Jeffries from Esm Paranormal. Well, we're based in Dorset. We have members all over the country though. We formed about 3 years ago as a group of friends, and it was originally started off as private ghost hunt. There was only about 20 members in the group, and now there's quite a few more than that. So yeah, and thanks for inviting me to chat.
Thank you, John, for joining us. Now your name sounds familiar. Jeffries, John Jeffries. That rings a bell.
Now, my namesake is John Judge Jeffries. Now, the hanging judge was Judge Jeffries from the Bloody Assizes, and apparently he sentenced nearly 300 men to death by hanging, also known as the hanging judge. Now, we was investigating a place in Dorchester which is called Mornbury Ring, which was a Roman amphitheatre. Before that it was a Bronze Age settlement, and then it was a Civil War gun pit, and also an execution spot for people which Jeffries has sentenced. Jeffries was very active in Dorchester. He stayed in a pub there, and the courtroom was in the pub. If you look up the history of Judge Jeffries in Dorchester, there's a lot of history there. So we're over investigating Mornbury Rings with Russell, who's our medium as such, and he picks up on a very angry Scottish spirit. Now this Scottish spirit was very angry and was having a go at Russ, and Russ thought he may have been one of Jeffrey's victims as such. So Russ told the spirit, oh look, we've got a Jeffries here, perhaps he's related to the guy that had you hung. And with that I felt a noose around my neck. And not a pleasant experience, but I told the spirit very politely to leave me alone. I won't use the language I used on here. But yeah, the feeling went straight away. And I said, very weird experience, very frightening, but also very funny because Russ couldn't stop laughing. But again, this is what you get when you're a paranormal investigator. If you ask things that happen and they happen, you have to accept it.
Well, that is one incredible story. I have to say that's a little creepy with the rope around the neck. But tell me about your very first paranormal experience.
Okay, yeah, so my first paranormal encounter was back in 1992. There was a group of us hanging around over a park where we lived, which was Hayes in Middlesex. It was a park that had been, it had originally been wasteland, but had been made into like an ornamental park in the middle of a new housing estate. So it had these, they rerouted the original stream and made it more nicer. They had put bridges across the stream and all these gravel pathways and benches, and they had like landscapes and hills and that. But the original fence line right along the side of it was the same as it used to be. And the story is, one night we were sitting over there, there was about, say, 10, 15 of us, and out of the corner of my eye I see a large black shape standing by the edge of one of these bridges. So I called Dan over, and I basically said, Dan, don't want to cause alarm, mate, but someone over there sat watching us. Very tall, I would say at least about 6'5", and he was stood by the end of this white bridge, so he stood out quite clearly. So with that, me and Dan were talking, someone else saw it and shouted, and this black shadow run probably 30, 40 foot in less than 2 seconds into a group of trees and some bushes. Now all of us then run to the car park to the safety of the street lights and to my friend's car, and we discussed what to do next. And at that point, 5 of us thought we were the warriors and were going down to confront our enemy who we had seen, not actually realising what it was that was in the park. So the 5 of us very bravely walked down the gravel path towards the initial bridge where we had seen it, and crossed over the stream on this white bridge and to the bushes. Now as we approached these bushes and trees, there was just one twig that was moving, and there was nothing there at all to see. We couldn't see anything at all. And as we got towards the bush itself, we was probably about a foot away, and for some reason, on the same instinct, we all decided that we wasn't such brave people after all, and run back to the car quite quickly and regrouped under the safety of the traffic lights in the street lights in the car park. And then we all sort of calmed down a bit after about 5 minutes and went back and sat on the bench, hoping that our friend had gone and left the park. Unfortunately, our friend hadn't left the park, and we've been sat down again for about another 5 minutes, and about 30 foot in front of us, across the stream, we saw this figure, and I said, yeah, by now, confirmed now, about 6'5", very tall, very big, very menacing looking, and we then confirmed as well that it was transparent. There was no features, it was just like a black shadow shape that was still in front of us. And the girl screamed, some of the boys screamed, and we ran across back to the car for safety again, not realising what was on. Now we knew we had a ghost in the park. And yeah, I've got to say, it was quite exciting because I was obviously into the paranormal, so our park had a ghost. And then again, we regrouped and went back and sat on a bench yet again. Now, again, we're sat at the bench having our normal conversation, what teenagers do, you know. It's the early 90s, so probably discussing New Jack City or something, or rave music, the usual. And then one of our friends turned round, and the shadow, as we now know, he was called the Shadow now, was crouching about 10 foot behind the bench. Now, this really scared us, made us think about a jump scare in a horror film. This is what it was like. And it was sort of crouching down as if it was about to start a running race. Now, yeah, it did start a running race, us back to the car park yet again. So, I mean, yeah, strange things happen. I mean, I've seen other stuff since, but yeah, that was just, said, my first confirmed paranormal experience. I mean, after that, we got used to the figure. So we nicknamed it the Shadow, and we see it over there probably about 10, 15 more times. But said we were used to it and it didn't bother us then. But there was a point down there where the path split into two. There's a left-hand branch and a right-hand branch. Dogs would not walk down the left-hand branch, and there was rumours that at the end of the initial entrance of the park, which was like an alleyway between two houses, that a black figure jumped out in front of people. Now, I never actually witnessed it jump out, but one of my friends did at one point, but that was way before we saw it, and we just thought that was just some idiot jumping out trying to scare people.
Now that's one heck of a story, I have to say. Somewhat frightening that the shadow figure appears and stares at all of you, to be fair. But did this experience affect your belief in the paranormal?
Did it affect my belief in the paranormal? Well, I've always been interested in the paranormal since I was a kid, since I probably saw Ghostbusters, so I blame Peter Venkman. So yeah, I've always been interested, and I was an avid reader of the Osborne Book of Ghosts as well when I was younger. In fact, I've got the reissued version of it now. Now, yeah, I mean, like I said, I've used to actually hunt ghosts. If there's an old house or spooky old wood, you would find my friends now BMXs in them woods or in that house. Never saw anything until that day in 1992. I've seen quite a few since, and a few other experiences since with the paranormal. I said we started our group about 3 years ago, and that's when I seriously got into investigating the paranormal, not just going to spooky old buildings and things like that.
Now, before we leave you, John, would you like to tell us a bit about Esm Paranormal?
Now, with ESN, we mainly do local free sites. So we haven't done any for a while, but we occasionally do paid ones. So we've done the Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre twice. Both times been very active. We've got some good evidence from there. We've also done an organised one to the No Fort in Weymouth. And we also filmed a TV episode there with another group, which I believe is on Amazon at one point at the No Fort. Now, so we haven't been out for a while, but hopefully when this lockdown's over, we'll be able to get out and do some more investigating in the local sites. And I'll be meeting up with my co-founder, which is Russell, who's up in Hartlepool, and hopefully do some investigating up there as well. Now,
thank you, John, for joining us today. Thank you for your stories, and we hope to see you back out and about when we get the all clear.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for having me on, Chris, and interviewing me. I hope this has been what you wanted, and I will see you all soon. Thank you again. Right, bye.
Now that's all we have today. ESN Paranormal are on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube, so check them out. As for me, that's all I have time for today. Thanks for joining me on Real Paranormal Encounters.
Hello there guys, can you hear me okay? I am on top of the windmill hill in Winchmanlock, getting my daily exercise, walking the dog. Yeah, let's say, hope everybody's well at this bad time. That can't be easy for everybody, especially with the kids being off. Okay, talking about kids, yeah, we're going to have a bit of a competition, see who could draw the best picture of a ghost or a ghoul or monster or anything scary. Well, it could be scary, it could be funny, it could be anything you like, as long as it's of a monster or a ghost or a ghoul. Yeah, well, if you send the entries to our Facebook page, that'll be on the screen right now. We'll have a look over the next week and decide which is the best, and there'll be a prize for whoever's is the best. It'll be a small prize, but it'll be something fun. So yeah, let's say I'm out taking the dog for a walk on my own. There's nobody around, so everyone, please abide by the guidelines. Stay in, stay safe, Only go out for the necessities. And remember guys, we're all in this together.
As Jody said, this competition is open for anyone of all ages. Just send us your drawings of monsters, creatures, ghosts, anything like that. Post them on our Facebook page, and in a few days time we'll pick out some of our favourites to win a prize, and we'll get those prizes sent off once everything is back to normal.
Will the people watching like our new show? Yes, you will. This is an oracle coin, also known as a decision-making coin or a yes and no coin. Now there are hundreds of different kinds around. We picked this one up online fairly cheaply. I think it was about £5. It's basically a coin, and on either side it has either a yes or a no. So a no and a yes. These are used predominantly by psychic mediums to predict the future, or to communicate with a spirit by asking a question that the answer would have either a yes or a no response. And that's what made us want to give this a try. So first of all, before we get on with the review, take a look and see what happened when we used the coin for the very first time at Daniel's Mill a few weeks ago now.
Okay, that has gone to yes, by the way.
Now you're going to give me a no. If I can catch it properly today.
No.
Now you're going to give me another yes.
I'm going to ask the same question again. Did you die here in this building? No. Okay. Were you the boss here? Were you in charge?
No.
Again, were you the boss of this mill? No. If you want to see more of that video or see what else happened at Daniel's Mill, then you can find that video here on our YouTube channel. Just have a look in the season 3 investigations, and it was the most recent one. So back to the coin. Now, unfortunately, due to us not being able to get out again, we have only managed to test this out at Daniel's Mill, whereas originally we wanted to give it a try at a couple of locations before we made the review video. But nevertheless, we've decided to do it now just to get it in this new show and let you know our thoughts on the coin. So firstly, we'll talk about how to use the coin. Now, they give you, the guidelines suggest there's a number of ways you can use it. Basically, you're trying to get the spirit to use your energy to influence the coin. So you ask the spirit a question, and you can either play with the coin in your hands like so and open it up to reveal the answer. You can flip it like I did at the beginning of the video, again to reveal your answer. Or the other option is to spin it on a table, and when it lands, then you'll have your answer. We figured the best option for us would be to flip it, so that's what we went with. So the first question you need to ask yourself is, how do you know for sure that a spirit is in fact influencing the coin? Well, in short, there's no 100% way of proving that his spirit is influencing the answer. So therefore we decided that before we'd use the coin, we'd ensure that we'd already got communication coming through with a spirit via other means. So in Daniel's Mill example, we'd already been communicating with the spirit via pendulum, and we asked that the spirit to move the pendulum yes or no for if we could give it the coin a try, and they said yes. We've also heard theories that people suggest that by flipping the coin, you could essentially learn how hard to flip the coin for it to give you your desired answer. Well, firstly, let me just say that this is not something we would do ourselves. We wanted to give the coin a proper testing so we could give a genuine, honest review on it. We don't ever fake any kind of evidence, so we would never do that. So, and also besides that, I imagine to learn how to flip a coin to get the desired answer, it would take quite some practice and a long time. And Daniel's Mill was the first time Chris had ever handled the coin at all. And in fact, we'd only bought it a few days before the investigation itself. So that theory, although could be true of other people, in our point, it was not true at all. We were 100% genuine when using this, and to be honest, the team, including myself, didn't have much hope for it. We didn't think it would be as good as it was on the night. So let's get cracking and tell you what we thought of the coin. So in order to make sure that the answers we were getting were genuine responses, we decided to ask every question twice in hopes that we would get the same answer twice. Chris also asked the spirit that was influencing the coin to give us a yes or a no, and then a yes again. And every single time he did that, we got what he'd asked for. And so we only asked the questions in pairs, and the entire time that Chris was doing this session, he felt like a presence or a weight, I suppose, across the back of his shoulders, almost as if somebody was leaning over him. And then towards the end, the questions were starting to get a bit random. We were getting mixed answers for some of the questions, and Chris had felt that the presence he'd felt before was starting to move away from him until eventually it dissipated altogether. And we concluded that the spirit had decided it had had enough of communication with this, or maybe it ran out of energy, and so we ended the experiment there. As a piece of investigation equipment though, we were really pleased with how well the session went, and we will definitely be giving this coin another try in the future. We'd love to know if any of you have tried these coins or anything very similar, so give us a comment below. Also, if you have a theory or just anything to say about it at all, then please leave us a comment. We love to hear from you and love to have your thoughts on it. But like I said, we really enjoyed working with the coin. We'll definitely be using it again. If anybody is looking to add some kit that's not the everyday pieces of equipment that everyone else is using, then we highly recommend you find yourself a coin. This one again was from Amazon. It cost about £5. It's quite heavy, quite substantial. It's solid metal. I'm not sure what it's made out of though. It's clearly marked yes or no, so it's easy to identify which side you're getting the answers from. And that's about it really. It comes in a nice little plastic protective case. So yeah, if anybody out there wants to give this a try, we'd love to see what you get from it. So get yourself a coin, get out there, get investigating once this situation that we're in now is all over and done with. Give it a try and let us know your results. We'd love to hear from you. Obviously, with any piece of equipment, it's not going to work every single time, but we were pleased with how this went on this occasion, and we can't wait to get out there and use it again. So thanks for watching. That's our review on the Oracle coin, and we'll be back soon with more reviews of not only objects, not only items that we can use to investigate, but also locations and more. So see you soon. Thanks for watching.
And welcome to M&A News. This brand new series will be coming to you every Tuesday night at the same time of 7 p.m. If you have any paranormal encounters you want to share with us, get in touch with us via our Facebook page and we'll put it on our show. The same goes for you, paranormal teams. If you want to feature on a future episode, please do get in touch and we'll make it happen. And for those of you who are watching, if you can think of anything that we should feature on one of our episodes, get in touch with us via the Facebook page and have a chat with us, and we'll see what we can do. Now, this Thursday, we will be releasing our most recent investigation from a tattoo shop in Shifnal, owned by a friend. It's called Awesome Sauce, and we filmed this investigation on Friday the 13th. It was one interesting experience, I will say that. So tune in to our YouTube channel on Thursday and you will be amazed. Now, due to the current situation with the coronavirus, we haven't got any future plans. We've got a few simple things in the pipeline to try and keep some sort of content going for you guys so you have something to watch. But as for any solid future plans, no, we haven't got anything planned at the moment. We are trying to keep ourselves occupied as it is indoors and try and keep ourselves going. But we will do whatever we can to provide you something interesting as time goes along. Now, just to finish off, if I could just ask you all just to keep going, stay indoors and just try to bear with it for as long as you can. And if you need anything, get in touch with the M&A team and we'll see what kind of fun videos and content we can get you. Thanks for watching and enjoy the show.
In this section of the show, we'll be telling you some of our top picks of videos and more that you should be watching this week. First up, we have Mysteries of the Paranormal by the Paranormal Detectives. Now, that's a brand new series. They've got a couple of episodes out already, and if you haven't watched it, we highly recommend you do. Very, very interesting stuff indeed. And we must say that Brian does an awesome job presenting. Secondly, Ghost Hunting in New England are a podcast based in New England in the US, and this week's episode, the latest episode on YouTube, is all about the black-eyed children. Definitely worth a listen. They've got lots more episodes on their channel for you to listen to, whether you've just got a few minutes or an hour to kill. There's plenty for you to choose from. And finally, of course, we can't go without saying our own episode coming out this Thursday, Awesome Sauce in Shifnal. It was a fantastic night, lots of great activity, as Chris said in the news, so be sure to check that out.
Hi and welcome to this new segment of M&A TV. In this section we will be talking to other paranormal teams and groups and YouTubers about what they do, what you can find on their channels, and of course how to find them. So we were joined a few weeks ago at our most recent investigation, which hopefully will be coming out to you guys this Thursday. We were joined by a YouTuber called Aaron, who is based around Telford area. I'm not going to, we were planning to, of course, interview him in person, but due to the situation, we're not able to get out and about, and that's where the wonderful World Wide Web comes in handy, and we were able to connect with him via Messenger and video chat and speak to him and find out a little bit about him and his channel and what he thought about when he joined us. So without further ado, I'll let Aaron introduce himself.
Thank you for having me on your channel and for inviting me to this interview. I really appreciate it. Well, as you've already mentioned in the introduction, my name is Aaron Telford, and Telford's been my hometown since my family moved here in 1990, was it 1991? Something like that. And yeah, lived in Telford ever since. In 2001 until 2005, I did go off to university, firstly in Chichester in West Sussex, and then to Worcester in Worcestershire, and those were amazing 4 years. And then came back to Telford briefly, and then in 2007 until 2010, 2011, I was in Chichester again. And during those times at university, I really wanted to take the time to explore my new surroundings. And I really got into that, really enjoyed that situation. And when I came back to Telford in 2010 or 2011, I still had that enthusiasm, that strong interest to explore my surroundings. And by this time, Telford had changed quite a lot with various redevelopments and all that. So there was parts of Telford I had not been to before, parts of Telford I had previously not known had existed. So I found myself exploring them. And one time I was talking with my friends about random stuff, and they suggested that I start my own opinion piece style YouTube channel, because I thought that it would be like really fun and everything to do that. While I agreed it was a fun idea, I didn't have much of an interest to actually do a YouTube channel at the time. But all that changed at the start of 2018 when Telford hit the news, and yeah, between that and everything my friends had said and the encouragement they gave me, I started making a YouTube channel called Aaron Telford. To begin with, things weren't fantastic. I did make some really crappy, rubbish videos, which I've since deleted because of how crap they are. But no, it's slowly evolved over the past couple of years to what it is now. I think it's like about 270 videos I've got going up, touching on different subjects, mostly exploring Telford, but also talking a bit about Star Trek, and more recently talking about local history, local folklore, and the paranormal, all of which have been really interesting. And when you add it all up, that's where I find myself today.
So Aaron, out of all of the videos you've made, and we can see from your YouTube channel that there are quite a few, what would you say is your favourite video?
Well, favourite videos. Well, I've got a few of those, but I think 3 of my favourite videos are based around Jenko's Mongolian Bar in Ketley. Because only recently I found out that there's a nature reserve of sorts located directly behind Jenko's. And even though I've been to Jenko's several times, I had no idea that there was a nature reserve right behind the place. And how I discovered that was last year, I think it was. There's this path going through one bridge, or over one bridge, which runs alongside this main road. And I noticed there was this little side path going down from this main footpath I'd be travelling along nearly every day. So one day I decided to explore. And that resulted in my first favourite video, which I've titled Telford Secret Road. And yeah, it explores this disused road down by the rail track. And it was really, really interesting. And I really enjoyed making that. And to my great surprise, afterwards, it's by far my most viewed video. Now, most of my videos can have anything up to 200 views per video or 600 views per video, something like that. But this one video, when I last checked, hit 2.6 thousand views. So by far the most popular video, and that was really, really surprising to me, but in a good way. I was really impressed by that. And while I made this video, I noticed there were a couple of other paths in this area to explore, and I got round to making those videos a couple of months ago, which I think I titled, there were 3 videos I made in that one afternoon, titled Telford Secret Paths number 1, number 2, and number 3. And the fact that, it is just an amazing little area. And the fact that altogether these are, I would say, some of my favourite videos, are because it was like something new and amazing right under my nose along a path that I travel most days on the way to and from work. So that was a really good thing. And I think another favourite video I titled Telford Mystery Brick Structure. Because along the Silken Way, as you are getting toward Madeley, there's this abandoned mill along the walk, brick mill, and it's like there's a footpath that leads towards Madeley Hotel. But still on the Silken Way itself, just after this abandoned mill, on the left as you're walking toward Madeley itself, if you look toward the grass and the undergrowth, there's a brick structure there. I have no idea what that brick structure is all about, but I would assume it's got something to do with some of the old abandoned canal networks that used to cut across all of Shropshire many years ago. But yeah, I was really interested about that one. But yeah, like I said, I'd say those are some of my favourite videos that I've made within Telford so far.
So currently, as your name suggests, you focus around the Telford area for your videos. Do you plan on the future exploring further afield?
Plans for exploring outside of Telford? Yes, I'm going to be making plans about that accordingly. In fact, I've already made some videos about that already. A couple of months ago, I was in Gainsborough visiting my one best friend who lives up there. For anyone who doesn't know, Gainsborough is in Lincolnshire, and it's somewhere north of Sheffield. But no, they have a river, a massive river running through Gainsborough called River Trent. And yeah, I got the impression that the River Trent is to Gainsborough like the River Severn is to Telford and Shrewsbury. So I found a little section with by a footpath with some local history about River Trent and Gainsborough, so I made a video about that. I've also made a video in the Malvern Hills where I climbed the Malvern Hills, which was a really good one to make. I had gorgeous, beautiful weather on that day. And I've also made a couple of videos in West Sussex as well. I think it was last year. So yeah, I do plan to make more. For example, going around Shrewsbury to begin with. I've just got to actually wait for good enough weather to do that and actually get on and do it as well. So there are plans to make future videos outside of Telford. Like I say, starting with Shrewsbury, for example. I've just got to get on and do it at the end of the day.
What we'd like to know, being paranormal investigators ourselves, is what are your thoughts on the paranormal? Are you a believer, a skeptic, or somewhere in between?
What do I think about the paranormal? Well, to be honest, it's a case-by-case situation. Depends on what category of the paranormal you're talking about. But overall, I am a skeptic. But that said, I've had an interest in the subject since I was a teenager. I remember when I was at college reading a couple of books about ancient astronauts by Eric van Daniken. I've read a few ghost stories, read a few tales about weird creatures and cryptozoology, for example, the Yeti, various sea monsters. But overall, I'm skeptical. For example, when it comes to ghosts specifically, if you or anyone else believes in ghosts as a real thing, then that's fine. That's fine. I'm not going to be an idiot about it. I'm not going to disrespect your opinions and what you believe. I'm going to accept what you believe for what you believe. That's fine. It's just that I'm easily a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 skeptic when it comes to ghosts. But weirdly, I still find paranormal investigators and ghost hunters and the methods they use interesting. I can't explain why, I just find that side of things really interesting. As for stuff like cryptozoology, like strange and exotic creatures, mythological beings and all that, well, I'm still a bit of a skeptic depending on what animal you're talking about. For example, I don't believe that the Loch Ness Monster is a real thing, not at all. But certain tales of dragons, for example, there could have been something to it. For example, I keep on hearing it be said that the many ancient civilizations, from the Chinese to ancient Europeans, would come across dinosaur fossils. For example, Protoceratops, or Velociraptor, for example. And the bones of these dinosaurs would become the inspiration to tales and stories about various kinds of dragons. Now, is any of that actually true? I don't know, to be honest. But it's just something I keep on hearing. And when you've got tales of sea monsters, for example, for centuries, tales about the stories from sailors around the world talking about the giant squid, and that was dismissed as a myth until a few years ago, when giant squids were actually caught on camera and caught by fishermen. And I was like, okay, that turned out to be true. No, so cryptozoology, there is something to that. It's just depending on what creature you're talking about. Like I said, Loch Ness Monster, I don't think that's ever been a real thing, but the giant squid, sea monsters, perfectly possible. But then there are other categories of the paranormal. Again, case-by-case scenario about if I believe it or not. I don't know, it's one of them. But once people talk about the paranormal, they paint it with one giant brush, when in fact there are many different versions, categories, subcategories. It's a bit of a diverse storyboard of situations. And like I say, what happens really depends on the exact nature of things. Well, it's one of them. I'm always interested in the subject and always wanting to learn more, but what I believe about it, like I say, case by case.
So, as I said earlier, you joined us a few weeks ago for the paranormal investigation at Awesome Source in Shifnal, which was, of course, recorded on Friday the 13th, no less. What made you want to meet up with us and join us for the investigation?
What brought me to your investigation at Awesome Source in Shifnal? Well, that was actually Fran's idea. Fran, as we all know by now, is the owner of Awesome Source and runs that business as a tattoo shop and now a outlet for Warhammer 40,000. And I happened to be visiting her at a shop in October 2019, and we were just talking about the stuff I was doing on my YouTube channel in general, and I happened to say something like I'd like to be doing some new subjects, expand on the stuff that I do, and Fran told me about yourselves, Morris and Anderson, paranormal investigators, and suggested that I get in touch with you and talk about joining one of your investigations, which I did do a couple of days later, and that resulted in you invited me to your investigation at Fran's business in Shifnal on Friday the 13th. So that's how that happened. And yeah, I found it really interesting situation, in fact. I think another question you wanted to ask was what I thought about the whole situation overall. And to be honest, I found it really interesting. Feeding into your other question, because like many other people, I'd seen various teams of paranormal investigators on television, or I'd read about them in articles in various magazines and newspapers, and they often talked about their equipment that they were using, the logic and reasons behind them using the equipment they chose to use, and actually seeing it in front of me, being used in, like, for real. I was really interested by that. Everything from the crystal thing to the electromagnetic detecting device he used, and your other things as well. So overall, it was a fantastic opportunity for me to see for the first time, and also firsthand, an actual paranormal investigation happen. And I was really interested by that. It's really, in one of my previous answers to one of your previous questions, I already said I'd always had a strong interest in the paranormal, and being there at Fran's business to see your investigation has only strengthened my interest in this subject. It was like really good time, and I'm really grateful that you invited me along to be part of that situation, to experience everything that happened, and I want to say thank you for letting me be there. I do appreciate it. So overall, so that's how that all happened and started. Fran said I'd get in touch with you, and as for the investigation itself, I thought it was a very interesting experience, seeing everything be put in use the way it was, seeing your procedure and your explanations behind why you were doing and how you were doing what you were doing. So that was really, really good. Thank you.
And finally, the all-important question: would you ever come on another paranormal investigation again?
Yes, I would be interested in joining you on future paranormal investigations. Like I said, thank you for inviting me to this interview. I've really enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing the end result on your YouTube channel soon. So thank you and goodbye.
Right, well, that's it from Aaron. I hope you've enjoyed listening to him, and if you think you might enjoy watching his videos, then please go over to his YouTube channel. That's Aaron Telford, and give him a sub and watch a few of his videos. There's some great videos of hidden gems of Telford, if you like, and other bits and bobs. So check him out and say hi and tell him we sent you. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. And sadly, that's all we've got time for today in this episode of M&A T.V. But don't fear, we'll be back next week at the same time with more great content, more paranormal encounters, more interviews, more reviews, and much, much more. So join us every week, every Tuesday at 7 PM for more. But from myself and the rest of the M&A team, take care of yourselves, look after yourselves, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this whole situation will soon be back to normal and we can get back out there investigating the world of the paranormal and more. And Chris is dancing in the background trying to put me off. But see you soon. Bye.